We're soon to be leaving on a jet plane.
But can we fit all of these board games into this tiny bag?
I'm Libby and this is Julian. We are BoxedMeeples. You can find us right here on YouTube, on Instagram and on Twitter.
Now, in a few weeks' time, we are leaving for a fantastic holiday. We're going to be away for just over 2 weeks. And 2 weeks without playing board games is a future we don't want to face. So we collected all of these games. And now we're going to show you how we fit these games into a bag.
And by the powers of editing, we have now crammed all of those games into this teeny tiny little bag.
It's an impressive feat.
It was, because I mean that pile was, taller than I am.
Yeah.
So...
we did take some shortcuts, and we've tinkered a little bit, and but we're going to talk you through now what's in the bag. So,
and why we want to take it.
In the bag, obviously, this is actually a old camera bag, a camcorder. Do you remember those days before your phone used to be able to film stuff?
Yeah, we just sort of dug around the attic and thought, that'll work pretty well.
So it's got lots of pouches, which is ideal for this situation.
Yeah.
So we are taking with us, we're going to talk through the games as we go. We have these. So what are these from?
Those large ones are from Santa Monica because we're going to LA, so we're going to visit Santa Monica, so that makes sense to play Santa Monica in Santa Monica.
It does. And this is from?
And that's from Trails, which I also got because America, and we will be driving through some of the national park areas and things like that, so I thought the theme fits the holiday as well. There's going to be that whole theme of the theme of the game fits the holiday. It's going
playing games while we're in placing.
Hopefully you won't get too tired of that.
So,
but yeah, we've put those cardboard bits in the front pocket because we didn't want them to bend or anything, and that was quite nice and
fits in
there. Yes. But Santa Monica, you bought us recently.
Yes.
So particularly for holiday, and it's one of those games that comes in like a standard big box game.
It's in a massive box considering the size of the game. It's excessively big.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be. You can travel with it relatively easily, I think. So it should be okay.
So we also have obviously the cards you need to play Santa Monica.
Yeah, and we've kind of put all the cards that we need for each game in a separate little baggie so that when we just want to play the one game, it's going to be a bit easier for us to get through rather than just shove loads of different cards from different games and have to sort them out. Yeah. We've separated them all into separate baggies.
And we're not going to be playing this on the plane while we're going there. This will be in a suitcase because we've said a lot of these games, although they are quite small, take up quite a lot of table space. That's not going to work on a plane. Also, rolling dice is going to be
I'm really clumsy, so I think that we thought that due to the fact that I will 100% drop dice and or cards and or components, even for the smaller games that are easier to play, that we've taken in here. And that basically means Julian's going to be on his hands on these.
Yeah, I'm going to be crawling around the plane, asking people whether they found a dice and what's it saying. What's the face up saying? Don't just pick it up. What's it say? So yes, these are for playing when we get there. Times when we are on holiday. So next up we have the only Oink game we've packed.
And tiny boxed games, so they were a good choice. But we've just taken the one.
So we're taking Deep Sea Adventure, which is a fun, better with more people, but still works quite well with 2 players, especially when you play 2 characters each.
Yeah, we always play having 2 little divers each, and you can do the leaping over much better. It makes it a better game in our opinion. But this is so good for travel because basically you can put out these tokens in whatever space it is that you've got. So if you've got a round coffee table in the hotel room or in the bar that you're at, or you haven't got anything and all you've got is a windowsill, it's still gonna work. You're gonna just make it fit to whatever space you've got. So we thought that's a good choice.
And then we have probably our biggest game.
Yeah, I couldn't go without this one, I thought.
So we are taking Res Arcana.
We are.
And
with the expansion.
With the expansions. And for Res Arcana, what we've got is all of the tokens in little tubs. So there's the green and red. We also have in here later on some more of those.
Yeah.
But also
there's another bag.
There's more bags buried in here.
Yeah.
This here is Welcome to New Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because we are going to Las Vegas.
Surprise, surprise.
And what we have got is the boards for this folded up, which we're going to take in the front here.
Yeah, some of the sort of roller righty type games we have like laminated to be able to dry wipe, and others we've just taken a little wodge depending on maybe how much we want to play it, or how with this one particularly the size meant that we needed to fold it in the bag, so we haven't laminated that, and we've just taken a little few of them. So
alongside that we obviously have the boards for
that's for
Boomerang USA.
Yes.
And so you have the boards in here as well for that, because we're going to America. You can see the theme working here.
Yeah, the theme again.
So we have the boards for Boomerang. We have the boards in here for Welcome to New Las Vegas. We also have the boards in here for Kingdomino Duel. These are laminated. So we are going to use some pens on these, which I have in here. Ta-da!
Some dry white pens.
And we've got, the rubbery ones. There we go. So we can just wipe those off. We only have to take one board each. Much easier.
Yeah.
While I'm at it, in here we also have components for various games. So that's the components for Santa Monica. And we have a lot of dice. Not just the dice for Kingdomino Duel.
Well, some dice we're doing dice sharing, but obviously some of the games have their own specific specialised dice, so we have to take those ones separately. We just put a few of them together that we'd need, but anything that just needed a normal D6, we're just going to share with the smallish one that we've got in there.
Now you might have noticed alongside that we have 2 Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies games. Ultra Tiny Epic games. We've got Galaxies and we have Kingdoms.
Yeah, it's just a lot of game in a small amount of space, isn't it? So, and they fitted in there quite nicely.
Right, to be honest, if we had just those 2 as the normal size Tiny Epics, that would take up most of this bag. So I'm always very impressed with the Tiny Epic games because they do feel like proper games. Condensed down. With these, you do have a few sacrifices. They're slightly more fiddly because they're teeny. They're ultra teeny.
Ultra teeny tiny.
But yeah, it's going to be essentially a board game experience in the size of a deck of cards. So
yeah,
Galaxy's much better than Kingdoms, but Kingdom's still quite good. Speaking of tiny, we have a game called Tinyforming Mars, and I don't know if you can still get this. I originally got it on BGG. It's a kind of fan-made tribute, obviously, to Terraforming Mars. The reason I say it's slightly harder to get now is I think since Ares Expedition came out, I think they might have stopped providing it as freely.
Right, okay.
But it does
but we've had it for quite a long time,
years.
and we haven't played it for a while, so I think it's going to be a good one to revisit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now we're more accustomed to playing like Art Nova, which has got similarities of Terraforming Mars. I think we'll enjoy this a bit more. Not that we didn't enjoy it before, but
no, I think we did enjoy it quite a lot. It's just one that
game.
For some reason we haven't managed to get it to the table as much. Well, probably in the last year, 18 months or more. So yeah, we just thought it's about time that we
it's
pulled
been
that
so
one back
long
out
it'll feel
again.
like a new game.
Yeah, exactly.
So with this I have all the components for that, and also these are going to be useful for spare components for any games we've not brought the components with. So for example, Santa Monica, we're going to be using the Res Arcana tokens.
Yeah.
So if we need any extra ones, we also have lots of components in here, which is tucked neatly in this bag. Oh, interestingly, for these Santa Monica sand dollars, I thought we could use these from Deep Sea Adventure.
Yeah, that would work well. I'm wondering whether the tourists need to be the red colour, because they've got sunburn.
So alongside those, another game we have, which is a game I really love, called Sprawlopolis. Now
you didn't think you were going to fit that one in there because it's so chunky with the thickness of the card that
we've said in the past, we print them on thicker card just so they're kind of easier to play, which is a blessing and a curse because it turns what should be a wallet-sized game into a chunk of cards. But this is every expansion for Sprawlopolis. This is a game. It's a proper, thoughtful game with all the expansions as well. And obviously there's beaches in here, and we are going to Santa Monica Beach. I'm going to try and
amongst some other beaches, but I don't know if I've actually played with the beach section. We've played with a few of the other level expansion bits, but I'm not sure I have played with the beaches. So excited to do that.
Continuing, we have some more Res Arcana.
Oh yeah, we sort of only got half of that out earlier.
So let's get the rest of Res Arcana out. More tokens. So these are going to double both as tokens for Santa Monica and for Res Arcana.
Yeah, Res, we thought it's the game, it has 5 different coloured tokens. So that was the one that we thought we'd take all the tokens for. And then most of the other games that require some sort of token don't need that many colours. So we should be able to share out of what we need from here. Plus, obviously, you've put a couple of those extra bits and bobs in.
Bits and bobs.
So I think we should be good, just in case we run out of something or whatever. We've got plenty. But there's a whole 2 bits of little cards and everything.
There's a lot more cards for Res Arcana.
So that's everything.
The entirety of Res Arcana.
For Res Arcana just fits into that, and that's with expansion.
Which I think is our biggest game, but it's still similar to, like I was saying with Tiny Epic Games, it's a proper board game. Because we do have some card games still to come, but these feel more board gamey.
Yeah, I mean, the card games certainly have their place, and I do really enjoy them. And also, sort of roll and write's a nice sort of easy, and especially when you're in that sort of relaxing holiday mood, perfect. But sometimes I do crave like something a bit deeper, a bit thinkier. And I think Res Arcana will deliver that. It feels like the sort of the big box game that we're taking.
Yeah, and we are taking. You know, you might be watching going, why don't you just play board games on a tablet? We are taking a tablet with lots of kind of digital board games in, but a lot of the reasons we like playing board games together is having that kind of face time, you know, the physicality of actually playing a game together. So we don't want to miss out on that for kind of 2 weeks.
No, and don't panic, we are actually going to see the places that we're going to.
We're not going, you know, quarter of the way around the world, halfway around the world to just play board games in a different place. There will be some time on holiday when we're not playing board games.
Yeah, for sure.
The rest of Trails here.
Yeah, so that fits quite neatly into that. And I did kind of want to buy Parks. It's a game that we've played a few times before. Some friends own it, and it's one that's always been on my radar to maybe get. And every time I keep seeing new expansions come out, I'm like, oh, now's the time. But then I was thinking about this trip and holiday, and Trails was reduced, and it seems like it's the sort of baby brother, and it sort of would fit that we could take it away. So for the moment, we've gone Trails, and it looks super easy to travel.
I think it's going to be quite good going in that direction. So going from the smaller game to the bigger brother, rather than going from the bigger brother and feeling, oh, that's not in this version. So it seems a more logical one to do that. But it's obviously much smaller. Other reason we have the pens is for rolling rounds.
The small dice. We are not taking the big chunky. How much we love the big chunky dice.
Are brilliant, but they take up half the bag.
We're not quite half the bag, but yeah, they are chunky, so that they definitely will be having a different dice for those.
So we have all of the base game rolling rounds. We have a few of the expansions. I've also got some fan made. Realms in here as well.
Oh yes, you found a load of those.
So we've got Arnak in here, Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Yeah.
Which are quite good. They're not as good as the ones that the professional ones that come with the game, but they still work really well, and it's nice to have the variety.
Yeah, it adds a bit of variability, which is fun.
And these are fun. It doesn't replace the Stomar games. Obviously, you don't feel like you're playing Scythe. You're not playing Wingspan. You're not playing Viticulture, but they're fun, and you can get around in 10 minutes. Full game in 20. So. Worth taking those.
So small, like you just take a little pack and a couple of pens, 2 dice, and whenever we're waiting for something, queuing somewhere that's not sort of stand up kind of queue, it's so easy to just play something quickly when you're just waiting.
You might be looking at this going, where is Tussie Mussy? We haven't bought Tussie Mussy this time. I think we've kind of Tussie Mussied out a little bit.
We have played it quite a bit this summer, so I think when we were looking at the games, we have brought sort of quite a few new ones recently for the trip, like Boomerang and Welcome to Las Vegas, or I nearly said New York then.
It's New Las Vegas, isn't it?
You know, Santa Monica and stuff, because we wanted some new games for holiday to sort of explore and learn whilst we're there. And so I think when we were looking at what would fit in the bag, one that we'd played a lot lately sort of had less sort of incentive to be added to the bag than something sort of bit new and different.
It was really a choice between Sprawlopolis and Tussle.
Yeah.
So it takes a kind of similar amount of cards with all the expansions.
Yeah, and I also wanted to take a Hanami, which again is quite a lot of cards, which hasn't quite made it in, which if I can squeeze in on packing day, we'll see what happens. But currently I've been refused to let it in the bag.
Well, we had to make room for Death Valley. Because go in there. Because go into Death Valley.
Yeah.
So again, that's the button shy version printed out on slightly thicker card with the expansions in.
Yeah, and slightly more room because you've got it in the little plasticky case, but it does help give a bit of structure at the bottom of the bag, make sure nothing gets crushed or bent or something. So having a couple of those at the bottom seemed like a good idea.
And the other one we have is Tides.
Because beach.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I think Res Arcana is actually the only one that's not thematically linked. Looking at all of these, well, I suppose we're not going to space, or indeed raiding a fantasy kingdom.
No, we're not.
Or indeed Mars.
No, so yeah.
50% are themed around our holiday.
Oh, the other thing that we're taking that you haven't got there is some sheets from Rustling Leaves.
Oh, so yeah, we've got the...
Again, laminating the sheets, so we just need to take one of each season for each of us.
We have the dice for those. Amongst our dice is in here. So there's some Rustling Leaves. Yeah. And again, roll and writes are small, they're teeny tiny, and they fit into this bag. So
yeah, I mean, any of those roll and writes, if you're able to laminate them to the player count that you take with you, how easy to take a game. You take a couple of dice, maybe, depending on the game, a laminated sheet, and one of those pens with the rubber on the end, and there you go. You can play as many times as you want.
Yeah.
So super easy to travel with.
And we are only taking, for example, 2 Rolling Realms colours because there's only going to be us 2 playing it. And yeah, there is the overlap on the components, which has helped get us to where we're at. So that big pile of games
it's all in this little bag. Yeah, with a little bit of packing, not quite genius, but you know.
I'm not going to try and repack it on camera because that's just going to be too much for me to do. Yeah, so if we go to someone, if we're in customs and someone said it's a nice packed your bag, I'm going to look sheepish.
And we might go to a board game store or something whilst there and play something else.
We will be picking bits up because there are games that aren't available in Europe, which are either because they're Target exclusive or for various reasons they've just never been released here. Kind of tempted with the... I love the fact that the British Bake Off show. So there's a game of it, which I don't know if it's any good or not, but I know there's been tutorials, so there must be a bit of depth to it. But ironically, much like Obsession, you can't buy it in Britain at the moment. I don't know if it's ever going to be released because of licensing perhaps, but it's called the British Baking Show board game. And if I see that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to resist it because we love Bake Off.
Well, and you can never resist the comedy titles.
I do like a comedy theme. Yeah. So
and there's a few Target exclusives in America at the moment. I think that more recently they've had a bigger selection by all accounts of board games and some exclusivity before, like more of a wider
particularly
launch,
the kind of Disney licensed games. You can only we struggle to get Villainous here. We have a big wait before the expansions get available for certainly some of them. We never get the limited edition expansions for Villainous. And a lot of
it the Rocketeer?
The Rocketeer not available here. We can buy it and get it shipped here, obviously, but it's not going to be in our friendly local game stores just because of availability. So, I'm keen to get the Rocketeer because I've heard it's a very good 2-player game, and I love that film.
You do love that film. You do, yeah.
So
if Obsession comes out whilst we're there, I mean,
and
someone try and stop me.
as we are in LA, we will be going to Disney, so. Yeah, trying to resist those Disney-themed board games while we're in Disney fever was going to be tricky.
Yes, very tricky indeed.
But what do you think about our packing methods here? Have you got a good selection of games and is there anything we should have packed that we haven't? Maybe very small games that have a very small, big game feel, but in a small package.
Yeah, that's what I'm after. I'm after something that gives me that kind of bigger, heavy, board gamey feel, meaty choices, that kind of thing, but in something that's a little bit more travel friendly.
Yes, condensed.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen us before, please do like this video, comment and subscribe if you haven't already.
If you click the notification bell, you'll see how many of these we end up playing and what a good time we had or didn't have on holiday.
Yeah, and also coming up in a future video will be us discussing which of those apps we are going to be taking with us to play on the plane.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that, and as always, thank you for watching.